Ossie and Ruby, starring Ruby Dee and Ossie Davis, with their very special guest, Roscoe Lee Browne and Anthony Zerbe, and featuring Bill McGhee. This program is made possible by the Program Fund of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, public television stations, and Alcoa, producer of energy-saving, recyclable aluminum.
That was the year we got into the Union. The crackers and the sweets finally let us in after we paid off. We got organized, and there wasn't a damn thing the company could do about it, although it tried like hell to buy us off. So to get back at us, they put their heads together and began writing this big book of rules. The one you keep your finger in. Still, it was we who knew the service, so they had to write the book the way we gave the service. So at first, there was nothing that the old school men had to learn. We got seniority in the Union. We got seniority. And as long as we gave the service and didn't steal, they couldn't touch us. So they began to change the rules and sending us notes about the service. Little changes at first, like how the initials on the doily should always face the customer and how the silver should be taken off the tables between meals. But we were getting old, and it got harder and harder, learning all those little changes. And it was especially hard because we knew that the company was out to break up the old school. The Sheik was gone, and we knew that Reverend Hendricks or Uncle T or Danny Jackson would go soon, because they stood for the old school, just like the Sheik. But what bothered us most was knowing that they would go for Doc first, before anyone else. They'd go for Doc, because they knew he loved the road so much. Doc was over 65 years then and had taken to drinking hard when we were off. But he never touched a drop when we were on the road. I used to wonder if he drank because being a waiter's waiter was getting hard, or because he had to do something until his next trip. I never could figure it out. When we had layovers, he would spend all his time at Andy's setting up the house. He had no wife, no relatives, not even a hobby. He just drank. But pretty soon, the slicksters at Andy's got to using him for a good thing. They commenced to putting the touch on him because they knew he was getting old, he didn't have far to go, and they wouldn't have to pay him back. Well, those of us who were close to him tried to pull his coat, but that didn't help. He didn't talk much about himself. In fact, he didn't talk much about anything that wasn't related to the road. But once I tried to tip him about how those hustlers were closing in on him. But what did he do? He just shrugged, took his shot, and said,
I don't need no money. Nobody's jiving me. I'm jiving them. You know, I can still pull in tips and one trip. I know this business.
Yeah, I know, Doc. But how many more trips can you make before you have to stop?
I ain't never gonna stop. Trips are all I know, and I'll be making them as long as these trains haul people.
But that's just the point. They don't haul people anymore. The planes do that. The big roads want freight now. And look how they hire young bloods just for the busy season, just so they won't get seniority in the winter. And look how all the old school waiters are dropping out. They got the Sheik. Percy Fields just locked up and died before they got him. They almost got Reverend Hendricks. And even Uncle T is almost going to retire. And they'll get us, too.
Not me. I know my moves. This old fox can still dance with a tray and handle 4 tables at the same time. I can still bait a queer and make old ladies tip big. There is no waiter better than me, and I know that.
Sure, Doc, I know it too. But Doc, please save your money. Don't be a fool. There'll come a day when you can't get up to go out. And then they'll put you on the ground for good.
Who taught you all the moves when you were still just a raggedy-ass waiter?
You did, Doc.
And who is still the first man, always, in the rail yard at train time. Who's there, sitting in the car every 10th morning while you other old heads are still home, pulling on your long john?
There wasn't anything I could say. He was right, and we both knew it.
I have to go out. Going out is my whole life. I wait for that 10th morning. I ain't never missed a trip. And I don't mean to. Yeah. Let's have another round.
Doc, save your money. What else could I say to him, young blood? What else can I say to you? He had to go out, not for the money. It was in his blood. You have to go out too, but it is for the money you go out. You hate going out, and you love coming in. Doc loved going out, and he hated coming in. Would you listen if I told you to stop spending money on the whores in Chicago? Would he listen when I told him to save his money and stop setting up the bar at Andy's? No. Old men are as bad as young men when it comes to money. They can't think. They're always trying to buy what they should have for free. And what they buy after they have it is nothing. They called Doc into the commissary, and the doctors told him he had lumbago and a bad heart and was weak from drinking too much. And they wanted him to get down for his own good. He wouldn't do it. Tisdale, the general superintendent, called him in and told him that he had enough years in the service to pull down a big pension and that the company would pay for a retirement party for him, since he was the oldest waiter working, and invite all the old school waiters to see him off if he would come down. Doc said no. He knew that the union had to back him. He knew that he could ride as long as he made the trains on time and as long as he knew the service, and he knew that he could not leave the road. The company called on its lawyers to look over the union contract. They took the seniority clause apart, word by word, trying to get it dark. But they had written it airtight back in the days when the company needed waiters. And there was nothing in it about compulsory retirement, not a word. Nothing in that contract that would help them get rid of Mr. Doc Kraft. The word went out from the commissary, get Doc. The stewards got it from the assistant superintendent, get Doc. Since they could not get him to retire, they were determined to catch him giving bad service. He had more seniority than most other waiters, so they couldn't bump him off our crew. In fact, all the waiters with more seniority than Doc were on the crew with him. There were 4 of us from the old school, Uncle T. Boone, me, Doc, and Danny Jackson. The steward was Krause, and he didn't really want to put the screws to Doc, but he couldn't help himself. Everybody wants to work. So Krause started into riding Doc and would chew him out in front of the passengers so that they would complain to the company. It never worked, though. Doc just played it cool. The commissary sent out spotters to catch him giving bad service. These were pale white little men who never looked you in the eye, but who always felt the plate to see if it was warm. And there were the old maids who would order shrimp or crab meat cocktails or celery and olive plates. When Doc brought them out, they would look to see if the oyster fork was stuck in the thing. Then they would look out the window a long time.
Ain't no use trying to fight it, Doc. The black waiter's doomed. Look at all the fine restaurants, the glass restaurants in Chicago. Now, you can't work in them. Them white waiters got them jobs sold up fine.
I can be a waiter anywhere.
But the black waiter is doomed. The whites is taking over the service in the good places. And when they run you off here, you won't have no place to go.
They won't run me off. As long as I give good service, they can't touch me.
Pure goddamn fool. You're a nigger and you ain't got no rights. Except what the union says it has. And that ain't worth a damn. Because when the commissary finally gets you, they won't lift a finger to help you.
Leave off him. If anybody should be put off, it's you. Your back ain't been straight for 30 years. You're making me the crackers sick. The way you keep bowing and folding your hands and saying, thank you, Mr. Boss. Well, 50 years ago, that would have gotten you a bigger tip. But now that ain't worth a damn.
It's the trouble with the Negro waiter today. He ain't got no humility. Keeps losing the jobs.
Jerry Ewell, the unexpected inspector, got on in Wenatchee one day after lunch as we were standing in the station waiting for the tracks to clear. Doc. We knew he had the word from the commissary. He was cool about it. He laughed with the waiters about their old days, and his hard gray eyes kept looking over our faces as if we knew why he had got on. Jerry sat down on the first waiter station and said to Krause,
Steward Krause, I feel like a little lunch. Please ask head waiter Dr. Kraft to bring me a menu.
Doc said nothing. and he did not smile. He brought the menu.
Thank you.
I moved back into the hall to watch. There's nothing we could do to help Doc, and we knew it. Jerry is the kind of man who lies in bed all night scheming. I knew he had a plan. Doc passed us on his way back from the kitchen with the water, and I wanted to say something to him. But what was the use? When he brought the water, Jerry looked him in the eye.
I'll have some onion soup, cold roast beef sandwich on white, rare, glass of iced tea.
Write it down.
He was playing it right. He knew that the rules had stopped waiters from taking verbal orders.
Write it. Oh. Doc, don't be so professional. It's me. I'm one of the boys.
You have to write it out. It's in the book of rules.
All right. Soup, roast beef sandwich, iced tea.
We watched Jerry at the table. He saw us watching and smiled with his gray eyes. When we got going, we would be traveling in his territory, Washington State, the country he loved, because he was the only inspector in the state, and he knew he was the only man the waiters feared. Then he poured some of the water from the glass on the linen cloth and picked up the silver sugar bowl and placed it right on the wet spot. Doc was still in the pantry. Jerry turned the sugar bowl around and around on the linen, but when he picked it up again, there was no dark ring on the wet cloth. We had polished the silver early that morning, according to the book, and there was not a dirty piece of silver to be found in the whole car. Jerry was drinking the rest of the water when Doc brought out the polished silver soup tureen. He swung down the aisle of the car between the two rows of tables, and you could not help but be proud of the way he moved, and the way that tray was like part of his arm. The soup tureen was on a silver plate, and there was a bread and butter plate with 6 crackers. Not 4, or 5, or 7, but 6, the number the commissary had written in the black book. He placed everything neat, with all of the company initials showing, right where things should go. It was good service.
Shall I serve up the soup?
Please.
Doc handled that silver soup ladle like one of those Chicago tailors handles a needle. He ladled up 3 good-sized spoonfuls from the tureen and laid the wet spoon on an extra bread and butter plate on the side of the table so he would not stain the cloth. Then he put a napkin over the wet spot Jerry had made and changed the ashtray for a prayer card, because every good waiter knows that nobody wants to eat a good meal looking at an ashtray.
You're a damn good waiter.
I know.
You think you know the service, young blood. All of you do, but you don't. Anybody can serve, but not everybody can become part of the service. When Doc brought out the roast beef, it was proper service. The crock of mustard was on the saucer, underlined with a doily. The lid was on the mustard, and was clean like it says in the book. And the little silver service spoon was clean and polished and on the plate beside it.
You want the tea with your sandwich or later?
Now we'll be fine.
When Doc poured that pot of hot tea into that glass of crushed ice, it was like he was pouring it through his own fingers. It was a beautiful move. It was fine service. The iced tea glass sat in a shell dish, and the iced tea spoon lay straight in front of Jerry. The lemon wedge Doc put in a shell dish half full of crushed ice with an oyster fork stuck into its skin, not in the meat, mind you, but squarely under the skin of that lemon. And the whole thing lay in a pretty curve on top of that crushed ice.
Good tea. Very good tea. Doc? Very good. Very good service, Doc. But you served the lemon wrong.
How's that?
Service is wrong.
Yeah.
Yes. Have you seen the new rule? Huh? Haven't you seen? Stuart Krause. Get the Black Bible for the head waiter. Now listen to this, head waiter. Memorandum from Douglas A. Tesdale, General Superintendent of Dining Cars, to waiters, stewards, chefs of dining cars. Attention, as of 7/9/49, the proper service for iced tea will be A, fresh brewed tea in teapot poured over crushed ice at table, iced tea glass set in the shell dish. B, additional ice available upon request after first glass of tea. C, fresh lemon wedge will be served on a bread and butter plate, no doily, with tines of oyster fork stuck into meat of lemon. Well, now you know, head waiter. Why didn't you know before? This rule came out last week.
I didn't check the rule book yet.
That's the rule. Always check the book before each trip. You know that, head waiter.
Yeah.
Well, that's 2 rules you missed. 2 rules you didn't read. You're slowing down, Doc.
I know.
You want some time off to rest? I think maybe you need some time on the ground to rest up, don't you? You're tired, aren't you?
I'm just resting my feet.
Get up, head waiter. You'll have plenty of time to do that. I am writing you up.
After closing down the car, we went back to the crew quarters, and Doc was lying on his bunk with his eyes open. He looked old. No one knew what to say until Boone went over to his bunk.
I feel bad for you, Doc. But we all are going to get it in the end. The railroad waiter is doomed. Oh, I could have told you about the lemon, but he would have gotten you on something else. So it wasn't no use. Any of it.
Shut the hell up, Boone!
The one thing that really hurts is that a crawling son of a bitch like you will be riding the roads while all the good men are gone. Dummies like you will be working their asses off reading that damn Bible and never know a goddamn thing about being a waiter. That hurts. That hurts like hell.
But it ain't my fault because the colored waiter's doomed. It's your fault. for letting go your humility. For letting the whites take over the good jobs.
What else can I tell you, young blood? They made him retire. He was beaten, and he knew it. But not by the service. By the book. By that book, that Bible that you keep your finger stuck in. It's not a good way for a man to go. He should die in service. He should be doing the things he likes, but not by a damned book.
This program was made possible by the Program Fund of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, public television stations, and Alcoa, producer of energy-saving recyclable aluminum.